Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
My name is Laura Schifrin, and I will call the joint meeting. I'll call both meetings to order at the same time for the Board of Selectmen here on July 1st, 2025 at 6 p.m. Roll call, please.
Veronica Kell present. Valerie Goodrich present.
Laura Schifrin present. Please join me in the pledge of allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I'd like to thank all of our veterans and all of those who are serving here and abroad, as well as our first responders and all of their families for their sacrifices for us. My board chairman's additions to resolutions, I actually don't have any, right?
I don't think so.
Okay, then we'll go on to 1.5. The review and approval of minutes of April 15th, 2025. Is there a motion?
I move that we accept the meeting minutes from 4/15/2025.
Second,
Any further discussion?
I gave my updates. They're not content updates.
Yeah. I saw them and
And I was not on the board, so I'll abstain.
still?
Okay, we're catching up. We'll get there.
Okay, so motion seconded and discussion, all in favor?
Veronica Kell, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Thank you. Okay, we are at, that was quick, 2 minutes. 3, under appointments, let's look at that. The appointment of a representative to MART.
Didn't we talk about that last meeting?
I thought we did.
It was the other.
You mean the MJTC?
Yes.
This is March.
Okay, that's the yes, and the alternate. Well, and actually she's an alternate on MJTC because Beth is the primary.
Right.
Okay, so this is different.
I'll do March if we need somebody.
Okay, March's interesting. I did that for NRPC last couple years.
Well, March is how we got the bus to Fitchburg.
Yeah, exactly.
So anyway, I'll do that. I don't know who was on it prior. Do we know who was on the MART advisory board prior?
From Townsend, I don't know, but I was on it with NRPC.
You were on March as the MRPC.
As MRPC, I voted.
But who is the Townsend person?
I don't know because I don't remember anybody else voting for Townsend.
Pardon me?
Probably Chaz, but I'm not 100% right now.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, that could be.
It could be.
Yeah.
All right. I'll do it if you guys want me to do it.
Okay.
Sounds good.
Is there a motion?
I move that we accept Veronica Kell as the representative to MART, Massachusetts Regional Transit Authority Advisory Board, effective 7/01/2025 until 6/30/2026.
Second. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Veronica Kell, aye.
Valerie Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Thank you.
Great to do this for you. Dan?
Yeah, one of them.
Oh, I got time. 3.2. Is there a motion to appoint Kathy Spofford and Jessica Fanioli as election workers effective July 1st, 2025 to August 14th, 2025?
I move that we appoint Kathy Spofford and Jessica Fanioli as election workers effective 7/1/2025 to 8/14/2025.
Second.
Any discussion? No discussion?
Okay.
All right.
Happy to answer questions if anyone has any.
I don't think we do.
I do.
Okay.
Is this the regular election workers, like we assign everybody
So
to?
yes, but the state law, basically, we're a little too early to do the big annual reappointment. It's actually in the state law, it says no earlier than July 15th can we do the regular reappointment. So you'll see another agenda item on the 15th of August. For all of the the
Regular.
regular annual reappointment.
But the position that we're appointing them to is
Yes,
the
the
regular
regular
position.
standard election
Okay,
Yep.
all right. That's my only question.
Okay. No further discussion on mention,
Veronica Kell, aye.
Valerie Gooch, aye.
no more shift and I. Thank you.
Thank you.
6:05.
Okay. 6:05. Christian, you want to call yours to order?
Today is July 1st, 2025 at 6:05 PM. Joint meeting with the Board of Selectmen. I'm calling the joint meeting with the Board of Health and the Select Board. Roll call, Dr. Christian Roman Ramirez present.
Charles Paul Saridi, present.
And Todd Asimov, present.
Go for it.
So on the agenda with the Select Board was questions about the contract for Waste Zero, if I'm not mistaken correctly.
Both.
This is
It was
the
both.
2-month extension.
The 2-month
of the contract.
extension.
Right there, and
Yeah.
it's for both.
Solid waste and possible new solid waste contract and Waste Zero contract.
So we submitted to legal the contract for Waste Zero, and they returned it back to us with some legal notations that we needed to submit to Waste Zero. But the situation with Waste Zero is that their legal department, they are on vacation for 2 weeks. And there are legalities or technicalities that I'm not able to respond because it's between attorneys. So our legal team had questions to Waste Zero regarding the contract that we had approved. So we are waiting for a response from Waste Zero regarding the notations from our legal department regarding the execution of the contract. And we did submit it to legal, the 2-month contract, and we did submit it to them, the 3-year contract, which if I'm not mistaken correctly, we just received it today with some notations on it, but I don't have, it's still work on the process, the contract. So it was on legal and it was returned to us basically today. So I don't have any updates regarding other than it was sent to legal, both contracts to be reviewed for them and to be returned to us.
So it's the Waste Zero one.
The Waste
Not
Zero
shots.
one, the Waste Zero one, and we had submitted, that one was returned to us. But the one with the Shaw's contract was just returned to us today, and I haven't,
3-year.
the 3-year
But this is the 2.
and the 2-month contract. And I haven't had a chance to go over the contract because it was just returned to us.
I do think the 2-month extension is pretty much, everyone's in agreement with how it's sort of laid out.
They just wanted to be worded on a specific Word document that they wanted to be in, not on this format that the board signed. They wanted to have to be placed on a Word document that legal provided to us. It's just that it was returned to us, if I'm not mistaken, today. So I haven't had a chance to go over it.
But yeah, I agree. The Waste Zero one is going to take a little bit of time. I ran into the same issues last year. Our legal department and their legal department just couldn't agree on certain things, and it was a whole back and forth. So it's the same sort of concerns as last time around. So I'm hoping we can come to some agreement that Waste Zero would be amenable to. And the 3-year contract, yeah, that just came back in today as well. I think there's a very clean version with all kinds of red lines already been accepted by legal. So I would say both Shaw's contracts are in very good. It's looking very good in terms of legal approving it as well as
No, I was just saying, are we looking at a 2-week extension from today? So would you want to meet July 15th? What happens in between?
So if we
If
can have an
nothing is signed.
if we can have an extension to have a time to, as a board, review what legal is asking us and in exchange with Shaw's. I mean, I think a 2 week, and I don't know if my board members are agreed to give us a 2 week extension to re-meet with the select board with the contract, because we just receive it and it will be irresponsible for us, even as a board, to make to say yes or no, or even present any responses to the select board, because we just received it today.
Okay,
So
understood.
Is the current contract over as of yesterday? Are we gonna just,
Technically, yes.
Yes.
technically, is Glenn going to continue picking up
yes,
Well,
until?
is there an issue with the 2-month one?
No, everything looks okay to me.
Was this vetted
But this
by,
is not the form that.
that's not the form that legal
it's not
wanted it.
the.
Yeah.
MTC Lawyers provides the town with templates for
Mhm.
everything, every year, on an annual basis. So, and we should have those somewhere that get used when we go with vendors.
Yeah, and then they can be sent to the vendor.
And then, yeah, so it's like pre-vetted forms.
Mhm.
And so,
We took last year's extension and reused it. It was already vetted last year.
So what
1 year
you're,
extension we had.
what you're seeing here, I believe this is legal, town council.
There was something missing about the
prevailing wage.
prevailing wages, yes, that we were waiting for that to add to that extension.
Yeah.
Right here.
Yeah, it would be an exhibit, and I had submitted for prevailing wages last week, actually. Usually it only takes them a day. So I sent the request to the state last Tuesday, actually. So I received it, and I tried calling, couldn't get a hold of anyone. So I ended up resubmitting the same request, so I'm hoping it's in my inbox tomorrow. But that would be the last piece of the 2-month extension, would be the prevailing wage schedule as one of the exhibits.
Can we put this on this whole same thing on our meeting
15,
for the 15th, and then we'll go through it.
okay,
Okay.
Sabrina?
And as long as Glenn is still good with picking stuff up, because there's no contract in place.
Yeah, do you want to explain while we have you, what people in town can expect?
So I mean, right now, the trash collection is gonna continue uninterrupted while we are in the process of signing the 2-month contract. So it's gonna continue with the municipal and the town trash as it was as of before it had expired. So the only change is gonna happen is when the new contract, the 3-year contract, comes in effect, which is gonna be residential only. But for this contract, it is included the municipal trash. So the municipal trash.
Okay.
All right, so in 2 weeks, we'll look at everything. I have a request from you guys.
Okay.
I would like to have a report on how many people have signed up for the new program. And I'd also like to see what people are agreeing to when they're signing up. Like when you pay your $125.
Carla's actually had people that left that want to come back and are calling her asking. They weren't ready to start
But
selling.
what I want to see is the agreement that you're signing with the town for the 125.
Okay, all right.
That's what I want to see.
The person, I didn't sign anything, I just dropped off a check.
There's no agreement. What I'm looking for is either a contract that says the town can get out of it in 7 days and pay within 60 or 90 days, if in fact the funding isn't there. Or I want to see that, and it's not nor, it's an and. I would like to see that people understand that if the monies come up short, that it's the trash takers who are responsible for paying the remainder. So how is that being handled? That's what I want to know. So,
So hopefully for the next 2 weeks, we can have those responses. It's just that honestly, um, uh, we can try to and respond to these questions that you're having but right now, because Carla's out too, she's the one who's been managing, who's coming into the program and so forth, so.
okay, but those are
Well,
my
maybe
two questions.
Do you think on the 15th, she could have a report for us as to
Prob-
where she is so far?
I think so, yes.
The labels weren't gonna be ready until the 15th of July. So if you
Okay, but
pre-signed
people
up,
can
they'll
sign
be
up.
mailing that out, but yeah. So they haven't even printed the labels that are gonna be on the trash barrel.
The labels that you don't need till September.
Yeah,
Right,
right.
but they're not even
Okay.
ready yet.
Right,
So if
right.
people do sign
And
up,
that's
they don't
okay.
have anything yet.
And we have planned on even coming on doing a weekday to handing over the stickers because our thoughts is not mailing the stickers because if we mail it, it bend the sticker and it won't be
Well, what if it
useful.
never gets there? Because apparently there is a problem with postal delivery.
So that's why,
When did that happen? They
No.
been pretty good?
No, quite a bit lately, I guess, but,
Okay.
people could pick it up here like
Mhm.
Tuesday nights,
Yeah.
you know, or.
we have it Tuesday and we're facilitating a Saturday, I don't remember the time frame that we have, so that people can come and pick up the stickers, so.
Okay, and what, do you want to update on bags?
So
Well-
regarding in bags, there's bags in town, so every store that we have contracted, they already have bags, which was last week, if I'm not mistaken, that they were sorted out for bags, so there shouldn't be any bag shortage at this time, so.
And so as they know, like right now, I know there was a waiver or reprieve for a few days where people could.
There was a week that we granted that those people that didn't had bags, they were able to use their regular trash bags, and that week ended as of last Saturday. So from Sunday to this week, everybody should be using their purple bags. So
Okay, so I just wanted it out there for people to hear, you know, what's going on. All right, so basically then the next 2 months, to the residents anyway, everything will be copacetic.
it'll be the same. Everybody will have their purple bags, throwing the trash and everything else. It shouldn't be uninterrupted until the program starts in effective, which is in September. So.
Okay. And for people who are really savvy with their computers and fillable forms, which I'm not, they can do it online.
And they have a
online.
QR code
Oh, I
on.
know the QR, yeah, there is a QR code. And so, but if you don't have any luck with that, you can drop a check off.
At the Board of Health's office.
At the Board of Health's office.
Okay.
Okay, anything else you'd like to, tell the residents while you're here?
Not that I'm aware of. I don't know if my.
I had one more question.
Sure.
Can you also drop it off at the tax collector's office?
No, it should be dropped
Just
at the Board of Health. Yes.
I slipped mine under the drawer when she got it.
Okay.
May I ask a question?
Who's that?
Sorry. It's Irene Congdon.
Yes, I.
Okay, Chair. Can with everybody there, the the select board and the Board of Health, since it's just the it's the paperwork that the legal is looking at, could you guys vote to approve the extension? Because it's the exact contract that we have now. It's just regarding the legals, which paper it's on, but the items are the same as what it is now. We're doing an extension. It's not adding anything new.
Irene,
Can
I
you
think
guys just vote to approve it and then have it signed tomorrow or another day with?
Irene, I think the
No.
issue is we're missing the rate,
Yeah,
Wage-
we're missing
the
something.
wage rate sheet as part of the contract right now.
I would want
Right,
to
but-
see the full thing. That's approved by legal before I vote to sign.
So that those numbers are missing from this right now.
Okay. And I'm, as your Mac still here, I can help with the town with what other towns have done with different agreements for that. So I will work on that. And I'm hoping, yeah, I will help the town with that as well.
Thank you, Irene.
Thanks, Irene.
There's a question.
Anything else?
Just wanted to point out, the legal signs first, who signs the contracts first, and then it comes to the board.
Okay, so
Okay.
hopefully we have it
Once
that way on the
When that
15th.
happens, yeah.
Okay,
Okay, thank you.
so if anybody didn't hear that, legal signs first and then we get the paperwork. All right, so then, if you want to adjourn, we'll see you on the 15th.
We adjourn tonight's meeting with the Board of Health. Can I get a motion to adjourn tonight's meeting?
I call a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All in favor, say aye. Aye, meeting adjourned at 6:21 PM.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
See you in a couple weeks.
Thank you.
Do I hear a motion to adjourn our portion of the joint meeting?
I move to join the joint meeting. Right? Just,
Did we,
she did both.
We did.
we
both.
voted to open? the
Yes.
joint meeting?
I did both at the same time at 6:01.
Okay, all right,
I did.
second,
It will be on the tape.
good.
Right, Val?
That's what I heard.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah, you seconded, right?
Yes.
okay. Any discussion?
No.
All those in favor, roll call?
Veronica Callahan?
Sorry, good try.
Laura Schifrin, aye. Okay,
Close.
Yeah.
so that is
Oh, I wanted to add something,
to what?
to the trash discussion. It doesn't really involve the Board of Health. The 3-year contract, legals, the clean version that was sent today, there was a section about canceling the contract, Townsend, and, we could do it with just 14 days notice and there's no penalty to us.
Can you put that in SharePoint for the board?
Yeah,
so that we
I'd like
can
to
review
read that.
before the meeting?
Because my concern is running out of money.
Well, yeah, it says here, I'll just read, it's just a couple sentences. Upon 14 calendar days notice to the contractor, the municipality may terminate this contract due to non-appropriation or availability of sufficient funds for the purposes of the contract or an unforeseen public emergency without penalty or prejudice to any other right or remedy. So that basically means we can cancel the contract with 14 days notice if we don't have sufficient money.
Okay,
So
so still, I'd like to see it go into SharePoint so that we've all seen it and we can let you know if we're okay. And then we can let council know, because we won't vote until council signs it. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Okay,
council, when council is fine with the form and everything, they sign it already.
okay. Is that good with the board?
So I think that alleviates the concern about, are we on the hook for the entire contract?
Right.
Which, that clause says we could get out of it.
Well, even they said tonight, they just got whatever today and they haven't had time to review. So let them
Right.
review.
Yep.
We will review. We won't be together, but we'll review and then we'll be able to vote on the 15th.
Right,
Okay,
I agree.
all right. So we are down to municipal reserve transfer requests, which is 4.1.
So you should have a packet with a bunch of them.
Any of them?
Yeah, it's not as much as you think, there's actually,
Some of them are 2-page.
They have to be done one at a time, right?
correct, and I'll go through each one,
Okay.
so.
I'm prepared.
Did I pull up the BVA? Need the most recent BVA?
Which I have, is sent to me this morning, actually.
The most recent I have is the 23rd, I think it is.
So, if you recall, you guys had done, a handful of them. It was actually 4.
Yeah.
It was in the correct form that Dawn had changed it, in finance, because it was referencing some old, Mass General Law. And in fact, 2 of those transfers, The numbers have changed, I actually need more, so, I'm not sure how we would negate those, so to speak.
So we're talking about motions that we've already made that are being redone.
Yeah, two of them are correct.
Okay, I'll let you just explain each one.
Yep, so the first one you have, I believe, is for 20,961.04 for health insurance. At first, this was the one of the ones that you had,
That's not what I have.
that we need to redo.
Oh, yes, I do, 20,000.
Okay. This was the one of the two that we kind of need to redo because the numbers have changed. At first, the treasurer's office was anticipating a 19,000 deficit in the health insurance. But the BVA, those expenses have now hit. So 20,961.04 is the actual amount that we need. So
So are we just ripping up the other form?
yeah, I'm not gonna,
Not
I'm not gonna give it to finance to review. Everything before you will be submitted to finance as soon as tomorrow morning for them to start reviewing it. So,
Okay.
So I am requesting that 20,000 come from the human resources line item, which was for $20,000, and 961.04 to come from veterans benefits.
So
Yeah.
is this money that is in 2025 budget?
Yes. Yeah, everything that before you is for 2025.
So we're moving around shortfalls.
We're moving,
Taking from one place to another that's overspent
correct.
in the line item. Okay.
Correct.
So I will make a motion to move $20,961.04. 20,000 from boards for BOS wages, human resources, and 961.04 from vet benefits, other services to, we have the line item, to health insurance town share.
Second.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Valerie Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schiffern, aye. Oh, I made marks on it. Is that okay?
We have clean copies that we can give you at the end to sign if you want.
I only has one.
Well, that's all right. It's got a number on it too.
That's fine.
I mean, okay, so I will sign this.
Okay. We'll
For
just
the son.
we'll do it afterwards, so that way we can
Okay.
move it along.
All right. I'll touch
Let's-
anything else. I'm marking.
Oh, you can do that. Don't worry about it. The next one is for the tax collector for $4,500. So it's
What do
for
you mean for the tax collector?
it's for their professional and technical services line item. They are
Over that amount?
My question is, why are they only asking for $4,500? This is way overdrawn.
well, so it's that section, expenses. We don't actually need to cover the entire deficit. We just need enough so that that expenses section is not over budget.
But it's still, if there's only 10,000 left and it's 25K in the hole. So if we do 10,
But if you see down here, the 39, this right here, 39.75.
yeah,
My most recent BVA as of this morning was $4,400 in the red.
So that's the number that you're looking for?
Correct.
Or 4,500 according to this.
Yeah, I just rounded up.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, and
I
that,
think I see.
and that's how, that's the reasoning why, those transfers are needed. As long as that section is, under budget, it doesn't matter if there's line items over budget within that segment.
Yes, give me your code 146 treasure collector. What's the on the year-to-date unexpected balance, unexpended balance? What's the number that you have right here? Because I thought that took into account both. Maybe I'm not far enough down. No, that's where I should be. Can I see your BVA?
Yeah.
And you're taking it from land use because we don't have a land use coordinator and there's still money left.
Correct. So do you see the
My
reason?
number right here is 10,000. What on earth?
That's a positive.
I know.
Yeah, all kinds of salaries have hit since then.
Oh, I see. That dropped 10K. Okay. I'm good.
So is there a motion for the 4,500?
I make a motion that we move 4,500 to tax collector, professional and technical services from land use wages LU coordinator.
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Veronica Kell, yes.
Good, yes.
Laura Schiffern, yes.
The next one is the building department. So the building department's personnel line item is overdrawn. So I am requesting that 3,000 be transferred into it to cover the deficit. And this would also be coming from land use wages.
What was the reason for this?
Let me see here.
Overdraft.
There were two sections within there that was overdrafted. It was the alternate building commissioner as well as the building commissioner himself.
So we've been busy.
So for the alternate building commissioner, certainly, but in terms of the salary for the building commissioner, I think the budget that we put in, that we requested simply was not enough to begin with. Because when I do the calculations, what was
Last year's budget.
yeah, FY25, it simply was not enough to even cover it to begin with. So I'm not sure what happened.
And don't they take in money? What was their income last year?
Let me see if I have that. Yeah, they do take in
It's
permit
supposed to be
fees.
revenue generating.
Yeah, actually, I got a report from the building department earlier. Let me see if I have that for you. They took in, things are actually been slow from what the building commissioner tells me. You know, the amount of building permits that have been issued, you would think this time of year, you know, it'd be very busy, but with tariffs and sort of the economy, you know, I think builders and, you know, homeowners have been reluctant to like take out permits to do.
So their
renovation.
busyness and their overage is for what? If they're not having like permits and inspections and callbacks and stuff like that, which is time consuming.
I think it's just salary
Yeah.
plus per hour. You know, what we pay them per hour. I think it wasn't budgeted high enough.
Yeah,
to
last year.
begin with, yeah. So it's not that they're working more hours and getting paid more, it's that the amount that we budgeted for them was not enough. It looks like the assistant building inspector was budgeted low and we've used more than what was budgeted. In other words, 4,250 was budgeted for the alternate building inspector, and
Was that a decrease from the year before?
I don't know about from the year
I'm looking at
before.
the BVA for last year right now, just to get some perspective on that.
Oh,
So
there's
in-
an
so-
adjusted budget.
So in 2024, I believe, I could be mistaken, but we didn't really have an actual building inspector for a while.
That is true, because Eric
Oh,
left
so
right around
they were
the
using
time.
No, it
those
wasn't an
numbers.
alternate.
There was an alternate. The alternate was used heavily in 2024.
So what was that amount
In 2024 was almost $20,000.
for the alternate?
Yeah.
And so then there was no salary for a building inspector in 2024, the whole year?
No, about 26,000 was expended for the building.
Regular, and then the alternate was 20?
Yeah.
Hmm.
But even
So
that,
that could be explained why they
even that was
when that
like
phone came up.
probably a skeleton crew at that point, because,
Okay, so they went over, this year, they went over on the alternate, and what was the budget for that? For the, not the alternate, because that wasn't that much different, but for the building inspector himself, what was the budget?
58,000, and right now we're a little more than 60,000, so
Okay, and last year it was a total of 45 in 24, or 46.
Sabrina has.
Sorry. I may have said something about benefited and unbenefited at the time, that changed, I believe, a while ago.
Did change.
Okay.
But in the most recent building department monthly report, the building commissioner reported that they collected a little more than $138,000 in fees so far this year. So, even though that's slow, it's pretty robust, I would say. It
Well,
almost,
that is, because that seems like it would cover all 3 salaries for the department.
Oh, no, there's also the software that it has to cover. The online permitting software.
What's the total budget with expense?
let's see here. So just the building inspector with salaries and expenses is $121,000, but there's also all the other inspectors. There's a gas inspector, there's a plumbing inspector, there's a,
And the 138 is total for all the inspections?
For the department, for all
For the
the
department.
online permits, I think, or all the permitting.
So
so,
they really don't make any money then, but they cover quite a bit of it.
quite a bit of it, correct.
All right, is there a motion
Yeah.
for 3,000?
Did I make a motion already? No, okay. I make a motion to move $3,000 to building inspector salary, building commissioner from land use wages, LU coordinator.
Second,
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Veronica Kelley.
Valerie Goodrich.
Laura Schiffern,
Next one is general property and liability insurance, $315.64.
Could I see our budget, the select board budget? Thank you.
So I'm proposing, we take it out of, Board of Selectmen wages, the community services coordinator for that amount.
is there a motion?
I make a motion that we move $315.64 to general property, liability, and vehicle from BOS wages, community service coordinator.
Second,
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Valley Village, aye.
Laura Schiffern, aye.
I think you guys had done this one previously. We were gonna move $8,700 to the accounting wages
Yep.
section to account for the assistant town accountant,
Contract.
contracted amount. So it would also be coming out of Board of Selectmen wages, community services coordinator.
We already did this one.
Correct.
Do we need to vote it
But do we
again?
need to vote it?
I don't think so.
Doesn't
You
sign?
can just sign it afterwards. Yeah.
We already have that in the minutes of the last meeting? We already
No,
have-
it's the, is it the same form?
There were
I don't think it's the
updates
same
on the
form.
Yeah,
form.
the form changed, but the,
Should be voted on.
I don't mind taking the motion.
Then let's vote it again.
I make a motion that we transfer $8,700 to accounting salary town accountant from BOS wages, community services coordinator.
Second,
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Veronica Cal, yes.
Valley Village, yes.
Laura Schiffern, yes.
next one, this is one of the ones that had changed. The Board of Health pay-as-you-throw expenses. They ended up buying some more bags because the town was out, so they quickly mobilized with Waste Zero to get 100 cases produced. So that, you know, we'll have to pay for it, but it will be covered through the pay-as-you-throw grant when it comes time for us to submit for reimbursement.
What do you mean by that?
Well, right now you're transferring from community service coordinator. Where does it say it's gonna come back? Through that grant?
It doesn't, but the way the grant is set up, you know, it's for pay-as-you-throw related expenses. So, but you know, we have to have a place where.
Okay, so there, we got the grant. And the grant money is in a certain account, or we don't have it yet? Is it something that we're granted the grant and we give them the invoice and then they pay it back?
Yeah.
Just explain.
It's reimbursement based, correct. So we haven't, the money is not anywhere here in town.
Okay,
Yep.
all right. So we are gonna be submitting for that to come back to the Board of Selectmen's wages. When we submit the invoice, because it's coming out of here, it's not coming out of the Board of Health budget or the pay-as-you-throw budget. It's not, because it's not in there.
Right.
Are we gonna get it back?
No.
It's because it's just like the stabilization. We're taking money out of stabilization for this. We're not getting it back. They're gonna be making money, God willing. They're making money and the program takes off and it does survive. It doesn't die. Why would we be laying out the money from the Board of Selectmen's budget to pay a pay-as-you-throw?
Expense.
Expense.
Can't we submit this to pay-as-you-throw? The grant that we signed in December? Because this is a legitimate expense
Yeah.
for that grant is, I think, what Laurie is saying.
That's what I'm saying.
And then that money will pay for that, and that'll be that.
Let me look into that.
I'm not voting on this one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we want to table. I would prefer to table this because I think that this needs to go to the pay. That's what the intent of those funds is for.
Yeah,
And we haven't submitted for any of them yet.
Correct.
We have not.
correct.
That's what we've actually been working on later today, was trying to submit a reimbursement request to the state for, expenses that we have incurred. So let me look into it to see how the mechanics of this should work. And.
Then we still have a meeting the 15th technically.
That's
Yeah.
the last day.
Yeah, and what we, because the select board and FinCom have to sign it, so given that FinCom, I think, are gonna meet before select board on the 15th, for this particular one, I might give it to them first to review because of the timing issue, and then you guys would be,
Yeah, you can let them know, and you can let them know our concern.
I think the funds need to come out of the grant.
I do
not
too.
out of us.
And not our budget, and I don't mean just our budget, I mean the town's budget. They now have an enterprise fund, they are getting all the pay-as-you-throw grant money. And all of our departments are taking a hit.
Right.
so I'll look into that to see, what's a better way of doing this. So
Thank you.
we'll table that one for now. Next one. 25,000 for police cruisers. So, last year, to help balance the budget, typically the police cruiser lease payment, comes out of the general fund, police budget. That was, to balance the budget, it was agreed upon that we would cut that amount in half, with the expectation that later in the year, we would replenish that reduction, either through free cash or some other means.
Magic money.
Well, I wouldn't
This looks like
say,
an
It was gonna be free cash,
Okay.
but he said no. He said, we'll have enough within our budget to cover it, and I
Okay.
think that's what this is.
correct, between,
This is taking from salary and wages in the police
Mhm.
department.
yeah, they have at least one or two vacancies that, produce some, savings, so to speak, to the budget. So we're just moving it from from salary to their expenses.
My question is, do we need to do that? Because I thought that if it was within the same department, you did not have to do that.
I checked FinCom today, and they wanted it a little bit cleaner than that. So each section, so the expenses would be under budget, and personnel would also be under budget.
I disagree with that. Because I don't think we've ever done that before. I mean, if you look at what we just did earlier, you added up the expenses and in the assessor's budget. And it was, well, they only needed 45 because they took the wages
Within the budget.
within, and then it was the
bottom
one,
line.
and he's not bottomed out. So why are we doing that?
I agree with Veronica. If the budget's not changing, if he had a shortfall.
Down at
okay,
the very
then you need
bottom.
to transfer.
Right.
But he doesn't have a shortfall, so if he moves it around,
Purview of the department.
I think so.
I thought it just balanced out. I mean, he doesn't even have to move it. It's just there. He is
Right.
not out of balance for his budget.
Correct. I don't disagree with that, so we can table this for now, and if,
Okay.
finance wants to,
Okay.
move it around, we can.
Next, we have $4,500.
For the building department for their professional services. So, I think this can mostly be explained by building permit fees, which are coming out of that, as well as I think now they are responsible for the copier down there, so the maintenance and upkeep. No, it's not that new. It was paid for through ARPA funds for a couple years, and then when, in December, when we voted to reallocate things, that got on the chopping block.
Okay, so I have to go back to the other building one.
So building department salaries and expenses are over budget, so.
Why didn't,
How much money is in veterans benefits that we're, seem to be,
That benefits other services.
yeah.
Let me see here. Veterans.
And is that the same line item that we just voted an additional 75,000?
No, it's different. These are, services that, the veteran services officer provides to veterans in need. So this has nothing to do with the tax exemption.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
so it's actual services, so
Okay.
whether they need,
And she had an overage. She
She-
had surplus.
yeah, she had a surplus, correct, yep. Right now, it's standing at, 42,000.
What is her total for the year?
Budget is 75,000,
And she has 42 left at this point?
correct.
Okay.
Yep. In past years, that's always been an area where there's been typically savings.
Yeah, I understand that.
You want a budget to make sure the service is there, but
Yeah. Mhm.
Yeah, because you can't really, it's hard to predict what you will need year after year.
I understand that. I just wanted to know the start and the finish.
Understood. Last year, they gave back 48,000,
Okay.
so pretty
All right.
substantial.
Um,
So, yeah, so $4,500 is what, I'm, requesting to be transferred from veterans benefits.
is there a motion?
I'll make a motion that we transfer $4,500 to building inspector professional services from vet benefits other services.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Veronica Kell, aye.
Cloud or Chai?
Laura Schifrin,
And now we are in the section, from the town clerk's office. The various, election-related, expenses.
Can I get technical difference in formatting?
It's looks slightly different.
why is that?
Why?
I'm not sure, I used the form I was sent by Katie, it's the updated form.
Okay.
And if I may, here to speak to this briefly.
Sure.
Sure, so,
You
basically
can
the.
move the table, Harrison.
The general big picture for these is, mainly due to town meeting related expenses. So as you may be aware, we have typically 2 town meeting nights, usually a fall kind of time for one night and typically one night in May. And that, as far as I understand it, is what was budgeted for. We had several additional nights, be it in August or January or March, and several additional nights recently. And so as it relates to overtime and election workers, that's primarily where the overage came from.
Understood.
And then there was a minor 3-cent overage in the registrar line that there's a transfer form as well for.
Okay. Well, I think the only reason we're all saying is because, Nelson, where did you get these forms?
That came from, Don Hayes.
Oh, this came from finance and this came to you from
From accounting.
the accounting.
So my only question is does finance need this format? If we're changing, if you say we had to revote because of this format, the only difference I see is, the selection for the last 2 months. Action guy.
Well, it looks like when I printed these, the X on that didn't carry
Which
over,
is-
but
that's
that's what we're here for.
This also is different chapters, and I think this is what you were referring to, that, Dawn had to change the form do you have the old forms? What was on the old form?
It is different.
Up at the
chapter.
top?
Why would that be? This one says chapter 77, Acts of 2006. This one says chapter 218, section 76 of the Acts of 2016.
Right, and
So
I
they-
thought that the form needed to change.
And what I had received from Dawn, he had made some adjustments because, pursuant to 2016, I guess they had amended the Mass General law.
So the form is incorrect.
being here.
Oh, so that's, gotcha. I'd be happy to resubmit for the July
July
15th meeting, if that would be preferable, or at least
I would just
look
think
into
if
this.
finance is asking for this format.
Yeah,
Then
we
that's
could
what
certainly do
need.
that. We have time before the July
No,
15th
the
meeting.
one question I have is,
But finance.
Mhm.
So do you wanna do like the same thing with this one that we just did with the other two that we're sending to finance first so that they can see it? I mean, I'm okay approving this,
Mhm.
subject to the correct form.
Sure,
And
because
then we
the
can
amounts and line items would
And
stay
then
the
you
same.
so
wanna
you don't have to
vote
come back.
that I could sign out of session once the form is correct on this one. Does
But
that
the
work?
numbers
Yeah.
are the same.
Works for me.
I'm fine with that.
I'm good with that, because we don't have any, we're gonna approve it, we don't have any questions more, it's just the form. So I'm okay with the motion to approve and be signed out
Okay,
of session with the new form.
I'm okay with that. I just want to see what the changes are.
Sure.
Um,
And I think my guess is just that chapter.
yeah, do you have?
No,
that?
I mean, what the
Oh,
transfers
yeah,
are.
yeah, yeah.
I'm gonna talk about each of
Oh,
those. I understand the form thing.
Okay, do you have like
It goes in the attic.
wait a minute, okay.
Drop the water.
Is there a motion? Let me hear your motion.
I make a motion that we transfer $600 to our operating staff from postage.
Oh, again, okay, wait a minute.
Pending,
No. You don't have. Okay, this is another same situation where he doesn't have a shortfall.
So if I may speak to that, so under the clerk's office, we have several different departmental categories. We have one that's town clerk, we have one that's elections, we have one that's registrar, street listing, parking clerk, burial agent. So they're all technically separate departments on the
Okay.
balance sheet, or rather budget sheet. And so as a formality, as much as they're under the control of one office, as far as like day-to-day operation goes, my understanding is that they're treated as separate departments as far as this goes. So that's where the formality comes in.
Okay, so the balance remaining and appropriation for which is transferred is 279.93. But you need an additional 600, otherwise you'll be short.
No, so that's the leftover in the postage account after the transfer is made.
So you're moving
'cause you're
from
taking it from
postage.
From postage to the wages,
Of
as
what
there was
department?
of the elections
The
office. So from
ENR.
town clerk postage to election ENR operation wages.
And he does, because they are two different categories, so he absolutely has to do this.
Okay, so where does it say from town clerk? mean, it
I
could
don't
say
know
right
that the
here,
word
Up
town
at the
clerk is on
top.
there.
Up at the top.
160, so the to be transferred from 160 is the town clerk department. I omitted the word town clerk just for space. But that postage line is the town, 160 is the clerk's office postage line.
Okay, and I wanna say that because you have ENR spelled, not
Yes,
spelled out, but
I apologize. Yeah,
identified.
that could have been included, yes. And if you would like, certainly that
Okay.
amendment could be made.
It's
I have
ENR
to-
wages dash
You do.
operating staff. Just to be clear
Wages.
about where it's going. If you're looking at the BVA, it says ENR wages operating staff. Staff.
Yeah.
to change it to civil assignment.
Yeah,
With corrections.
Yeah.
Let me hear your motion.
Yeah, I gotta think about this a second. I move that we transfer 600 from ENR operating to ENR operating staff from town clerk,
ENR wages operating.
ENR operating
Yeah.
staff, from town clerk postage, contingent upon form changes for finance committee to be signed out of session. Does that cover all our bases?
I think so. Second.
We got the second. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Valerie Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schiff and I. Okay, so we'll leave that aside, but we voted on it. It'll be today's date for the vote, but it'll be on the proper form.
Sounds like a plan.
Right, and then you're the only one that has to sign, right, Laurie?
Yeah,
We got that.
got that, Sabrina?
Have to sign it.
I have to sign it and it's an amended,
The
okay.
proper form.
The form has to be amended. But the vote was today. Subject to the new form.
Are you submitting the new form, or am I?
Yeah, I'll take care of that, and I'll get it to either you or
Oh, we have
Nelson.
the same thing here coming.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
we have, I think it might be four more
Oh.
clerk's office ones, so from a couple of different line items to supplement that ENR wages.
Okay, well,
Well,
the
the
next
next
one
one's
up is
street
registrar
listing.
stipends.
Oh, so, yeah, so this was the 3 cents that I mentioned for the registrar line item that was in a 3 cent deficit. So this will bring it back to zero, from the change that was left, from the street listing.
Okay, so no changes have to be made as far as putting in any words for the form.
Well, yeah, it does. I think you should,
I can add the categories to
I think you
say
should
that.
make the categories match what's
Sure.
in the report, that's all.
Yep.
Okay,
Do you want to give me what those are?
yeah, what are
That's-
they?
So just I can say some registrant stuff and stipends are.
Stipends is what?
It's T clerk registrar's other dash stipend, if I'm correct.
That's
I
a,
think that's where
yeah,
it's coming from.
Yeah,
That's correct.
you're reading it off. the
Other?
DDA.
Yeah,
that's a negative 3 cents.
to T clerk profit services dash street list. or from
The inverse,
street
from
list.
street list, yeah.
Yeah.
From T Clerk Street List?
Mhm.
So I make a motion that we move 3 cents to T clerk register stipend from T clerk professional services street list, contingent upon submitting of appropriate form from finance committee
And sign out
To
of
be
session.
signed.
to be signed out of session.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Valerie Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schiff and I. How much did that 3 cents just cost us?
More than the 3 cents.
Is there like a minimum that we
They
need to
should be like
transfer?
under 5 cents, you don't worry
Or is
about
it-
it.
I mean, it's.
Just
it
put
makes-
in the 2 cents.
It makes it,
3 cents.
it makes it nice and clean,
Cheaper.
but,
Okay,
you know,
Yeah.
Okay.
next. 354.56.
Can I just get the
What has to be changed?
appropriate department? However that
so
needs
it's
to
T,
be.
so it's
Veronica.
T clerk ENR wages dash OPER staff. And then. Clerk,
Transferred from town clerk.
But
where?
which line of town clerk?
Was it-
Is it salary?
Yeah.
Yes, that's the leftover in the actual salary line itself.
so it's T clerk salary dash town clerk.
I make a motion that we move $354.56 to T clerk offering staff from clerk salary town clerk, subject to appropriate form from
Did you
FinCom.
say T clerk ENR operating staff?
Sorry, T clerk, ENR offering staff
Want to make sure that.
from
she hears it.
from clerk salary town clerk, subject to use of appropriate form from FinCom to be signed out of session.
Is there a
Second.
second? Okay. Any further discussion? Hearing none. Roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Valerie Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schiffern, aye. So again, the vote is on this date. And just subject to me signing out of session when it's fixed. Okay, the next one is $500. Oh, you got another one after that too. Okay. Go ahead.
Oh, and this is
$500.
just the leftovers from longevity. So Kathy's anniversary date for the town would have been between when she ended up retiring and since I took over. That longevity, that 500 that's left over won't be paid out. So that's an area that we're going to use to defer those wages for the operating staff.
correction on the line item, Wilson,
Which one?
E&R.
So, yeah, so it's T clerk E&R wages dash OPER staff. And then for the longevity, it's T clerk, other stipends dash longevity.
So that was just to get it into another line
Correct, for
Yeah.
the same
and
purpose.
zero it out? Was
Yeah,
that
so
it?
this zeroes out the longevity line and moves it to the 162 function for the town meeting related expenses.
Okay, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we move 500 to T clerk
E&R.
in our wages operating staff from T clerk, other stipends, longevity, subject to appropriate form from FinCom to be signed at a session.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? Anyone? Roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schiffern, aye. Okay, so that's that one. And then there's, another one, 30485.
So this is a T clerk E&R wages dash OPER staff.
Yep.
And it is coming from T clerk conference.
You said what?
Conference.
So it's T clerk in suffering staff to T clerk conference, and this again is like the same thing to zero out that line item.
Correct.
Okay, is there a motion?
I make a motion that we move $304.85 to T clerk in our wages operating staff from T clerk conference, subject to appropriate form from FinCom to be signed out of session.
Second.
Any further discussion? And then roll call.
Veronica Cal, yes.
Goodrich, yes.
Laura Schiffern, yes.
Are we good?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Eric, if you want, I can get you something for Tuesday.
Oh, no, I'll say.
Okay.
Okay, review discuss CBIZ quote for town accountant services, Nelson.
So this is the over from CBIZ in lieu of the assistant town accountant resigning. July, August, and September are heavier months that they're proposing because they are closing out FY 25, starting up FY 26, as well as prepping for the Department of Revenue submittal later in the calendar year. So for July, August, and September, they are proposing $12,000 per month. And then October through June, they are proposing $6,000 a month for a grand total of $90,000 for the year.
12-month year?
Yep. I asked them, can we make it more like a month-to-month or short-term duration versus, signing a full-fledged, 1-year-long contract. And they agreed that we could modify the language to say it was more of a month-to-month type of setup.
And then we'll see how we do. We would still be keeping the assistant, right?
Well,
Lee.
Yeah, Lee, the admin assistant, yeah, we would still keep her. We need her basically help with the warrants each
Mhm.
week. You know, she does a lot of the legwork, inputting it and getting it all together.
So, just out of curiosity, because, obviously with, um, hiring a company, going into a contract, we have no benefit obligations with them. What was the total package that we were paying for the accountant benefits and salary?
The accountant or the assistant?
Assistant, and who, Katie, the one who's leaving?
I mean, I can't discuss, you know,
Oh,
what type of health
okay.
insurance they may or may not have taken. But
Well, what was the total budget for?
We're within on this because her salary was 66 roughly. We just moved that 10K to fit that. And we also had CBiz on contract
for about 30.
for
How much a
35, I
How much a
think.
month? On
What?
CBiz, how much a month? Or, okay, that was. the
It
total.
was a combination. The two of them combined would be 66 plus 35.
Okay, fine, I'm good.
About 100.
So, fine, so the contract for 90. Right.
Yeah.
And do they have, and I didn't read the whole contract, but do they have, like insurance if they make a mistake?
I think we need to have council review this.
Yes.
Yeah, no, this is CBiz's contract, so, you know, certainly things of this magnitude, we would want our version of the contract, so that, you know, our interests are better protected. Because, you know, they wrote this contract, not us. So, I'll certainly have town council take a
And
look
that
at
was
it.
just last week, so you haven't sent this to me yet.
Not yet.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I expressed a few thoughts on this. I think in Townsend, there is some value to having an accountant at a town meeting on occasion and to verify and discuss numbers as they come up. And so I'm not opposed to using this, but are we finishing the discussion on the whole year? And what our plan is? You understand my question?
I don't think we've quite decided what path we were gonna go down yet.
Yeah.
We're
If
still,
this is just in while we're continuing that, but I just was wondering, our intentions, are they for the whole year? Is anybody?
that's
my
why
concern?
I had mentioned to them, you know, can it be more of a month-to-month, short-term type of arrangement versus, you know, committing for the full year, because, I do think that there's a lot of value to having, you know, an in-person staff member versus basically a all remote accounting service.
Okay, I have two things. One, I would want to keep them for at least the 3 months plus one more to close out the year and start up the new fiscal year. Especially this year where we won't be ready to start up our new fiscal year until sometime in September to adjust all those numbers. And unless, of course, the override passes, and if the override passes, it's a quicker process.
Right.
So I would want them under contract for at least the first 4 months. Now, if we decide that we want to try to hire a certified town accountant, that's cool. I will not agree to home growing an accountant, which was what we were doing, which obviously did not pan out. So I would be opposed to that. I do remember the difficulties that we had in finding someone, which is why we wound up with an interim, a year of this, and then a mix of the two, which we were, you know, it was this diminishing returns, more of the assistant accountant, less of this. with the idea that within 3 years, the assistant accountant would be a certified town accountant. That was the plan.
Right.
So certainly we can post and try to find somebody. But I will also say that the funds that we pay for a full-fledged town accountant are, although we're doing 90 here, and that is what we were doing, more than 90, what we were doing in the combination of the two. So, maybe we do have enough to do it. I don't know.
Yeah.
We don't tend to be a town that pays the going rate.
So I feel like those are the two paths that we can possibly take. We can find a full-fledged town accountant, to your point, very difficult given the level of skill and responsibility and experience that that person would need and what we are able to pay them. I think you might find a hard time getting someone to even apply, honestly.
I don't have a problem trying though.
Oh,
I
no,
don't have a
no,
problem
no,
trying either,
yeah,
or who's
so-
running or
but-
moving to town or.
But I would want CBIZ for the first
Oh,
4
yeah,
months,
yeah.
and I would
Got
want, or 5, however many it takes to get, so that there's a 1-month overlap with
Okay.
CBIZ and the new hire.
Or alternatively, if we really can't, we don't get enough applicants for the full town accountant position, I think the fallback might be to hire a less experienced assistant town accountant and keep CBIZ.
You won't see me voting for that.
Well, the reason
I don't
why,
think.
the reason why I'm even suggesting that is because at least with an assistant town accountant, there's a presence here. They may not have the full qualifications to be a town accountant, but they have enough of a foundation and background to be a pretty effective
I'd
assistant
rather
town
have a
accountant.
Zoom call with somebody experienced.
I mean, I'm just saying, those are the two paths that we can take.
But this is a company that we have worked with and knows the town.
Yeah, and
That's more important, I think, than trying to train somebody when we're training half the building.
well, I depending on who you find, you probably could find someone that has an accounting background that has no intention of being a full-blown town accountant, and that's fine, I feel. We just keep that person and have CBIZ,
I think to me, the point is to have a certified town accountant.
Yeah,
Otherwise-
I'm not saying I don't want to certify check out. I do see with the budget that we're running in the situation, I think I'm just saying there, in those companies, there's value to having someone. And I don't know if we can,
So can we get
Well,
CBIZ
they
to
can
add
come
to
and
this
report
to
at a town
attend
meeting.
annual town meeting?
Yeah.
Well, the problem is our actual town accountant who works for CBIZ, they're remote and they're not in state,
And then in state.
they're down in Florida.
How are they? Why does it say Greenfield, Mass?
Well, that's where the company is based out of. That's where the company is based out of, but given the level of work that they have, it can be done basically.
That means you can still Zoom with them.
I'm not sure how you would zoom in on Town meeting.
Town meeting, so who?
Yeah.
Well, okay. I think that's something down the road anyway.
right,
Well, I'm okay with not posting today, but I would start posting maybe 2 months in, so if we did July, August.
I would do it as soon as possible, not like right this second or even tomorrow, simply because the recruiting process can take a while and.
I
you
would,
could
I
find a
would,
uniform.
we could do start date of, I would not want the new person's closing out the fiscal year or starting out the new fiscal year. So,
Unless
you
that
know,
was
a
the-
start
unless that
date
was the
earliest,
Unless that was the overlap. Experience on both ends.
but then
I mean,
Maybe.
I'm just
between,
looking at the 6,000 versus the 12,000 a month. You know, it's for the first 3 months, it's 12,000. So I would want to do the overlap when we were doing 6,000. As opposed to 12,000. I wouldn't want 12,000 and 12,000, or, you know,
How about the first
wouldn't
week
be
in August?
12,000.
First week in August, post, see what happens, do our municipal whatever's and.
I could agree with that, yeah.
And my other question was, did anybody else submit for proposal for if,
Oh, yeah, this is, do we need to get 3 proposals?
I would probably do a sole source simply because, whoever we hire actually needs to know our system, how we operate, and there's simply no one else out there to do that. So I think we can probably do a sole source, and CBIZ has said, other municipalities have done something similar in the past as well. So from a procurement standpoint, I think we can probably justify it being a sole source type.
I mean, I agree that CBIZ knows, they've been working with us, whatever their name was, they've changed names 3 times, but they've been working with us for 3 years now. So this would be year 4.
Because there simply would be, I don't think, any possibility for a company to come in cold and understand how we operate, close out the books, start the new fiscal year, and do all that. That would take someone months by itself, and we don't have months. We frankly don't even have weeks to spin someone up.
Could we talk to them and maybe do, this doesn't help with town meeting, but for the next 3 months anyway, do something like what Adam does with office hours, just do it on Zoom. Know that there's gonna be a day a month or 2 days a month for 2 hours, or, you know, if someone did have a question, they could call.
particularly department heads? I know department heads are the most likely to interact and have that back and forth and confusion.
I think right now CBIZ does have a dedicated block, so to speak, that they interface with the assistant town accountant. So.
Just make that with department head.
And I actually had a call with them this morning. They will be utilizing a couple other folks within their company to assist us, and one of them is actually the CBIZ Ashby guy.
I mean, if that's possible, but that individual that.
That person live in Florida too?
No, they're in person. Yeah.
So maybe we could,
Yeah,
have them here.
I can ask, but
that makes sense.
if it's possible, but it may cost more money because I don't think the proposal takes that into account, but I can ask.
How much money do we actually have in this year's budget for accounting? Because we may have the funds for it, because I'm pretty sure that
More than
90K
Sure.
is less than what we budgeted. Let me pull that up.
Okay.
Is it still,
We have about 96.
so it might work. And we're not paying benefits. I don't know if we were paying benefits before, but.
Not to them.
Correct,
Is that a
so
contract?
there might be a little bit of play there too. So,
Okay, so this goes to Adam. And hopefully we hear back from him for July 15th for that meeting.
and are we covered until then? I mean,
I think they'll be okay, even though technically they are not in a contract, just like Shaw's.
Oh, June 30th?
Yeah, they'll be fine. They know that we need to, utilize their services for the next few months, so they're willing to let things, lapse a little bit, so to speak.
And they were able before, so, see the assess. Right. I need to add in as well. And,
That's voting day. Yeah, we're gonna have to look at that. Yeah.
Can you ask them?
Is
Can you ask
there a reason we
them
couldn't do that one?
before, please?
Excuse me?
Is the reason we couldn't do that one?
It's a space. It's, they usually use this room for
What
the
about meeting
election
hall two
workers.
downstairs?
We could use it also, if we'd like to hold it, we don't necessarily have to.
We could, depending on who's there, who else uses the library technically?
We could use the library. Yeah, we could do that. That would work.
And get one of the meetings.
You just use my
Just about if we're not having it, no, it's like for me that they do have on the thing.
We would do that.
No, so.
I'll ask for the area.
Can we meet on the 22nd instead of the 29th, which is election day,
For
town council and for us?
We don't have a meeting
We're not
on the
scheduled.
29th.
Okay, can we meet on the 22nd?
I will not be in town. I'm out of town.
Okay,
22 to, I should be home morning of the 29th.
okay, then. We could get town council on the 22nd, we don't have to meet, I mean, we can see how the 15th goes. And if you want, maybe, 30th, which is Wednesday, but after the election.
Discuss it.
I could probably do that. Trying
No,
to
may
think.
have to be, even if we do during it, we may need to get
talk
together.
about that, the
Yeah.
future
I'm
meetings.
hoping
Yeah.
not, but, yeah, because
Well,
if the
yeah,
override doesn't pass, we have it,
we're busy.
we're gonna be very busy,
We can talk about that in the next meeting, right?
so. You ask them,
I can meet on the 30th.
tell them that I'm asking for the 22nd. Okay, so we're good on the, okay, 4.3.
Encroachment on Squanicook Meadows. I'm not ready for that. I meant to bring that up at the meeting last week with the CR committee and I forgot. And so
Okay, it's here.
we don't have it. There's nothing there.
Oh,
So we are going to put that off to the 15th.
okay. Good. 4.4, media policy. This is a reading.
No, it's not a reading. This is a discussion.
Oh, right. Okay. This is, oh yeah, this needs an update.
Well, we can look at it for updates, but I also want to look at content because I think just as the only the Board of Selectmen acting by and through the chair is authorized to provide an official statement on behalf of the town of Townsend in relation to any significant incident or issue. This does not pertain to those matters that fall within jurisdiction of elected officials of the town. Department heads must receive confirmation from the chairman of the Board of Selectmen through the town administrator before making any public statement on behalf of the town. Confirmation to discuss one issue or incident does not imply that the department head may discuss on behalf of the town's other current or future issues that may arise without further confirmation. I think everybody needs to be aware of this policy. I also think it says points for consideration. Comments to the media regarding a police or fire investigation shall be directed to the police or fire chief or their designee. If a member of the media is requesting statement of the town's position from an employee, then the employee must politely direct the media representative to the designated department head. Where special circumstances exist, employees should be aware that all comments regarding those circumstances is to be referred to the department head or chairman of the Board of Selectmen. Under no circumstances are employees permitted to comment as an official position of the town. So I think if you become aware of reading further of any newsworthy events or activities that may be developing in your area of responsibility, you should promptly inform the office of the Board of Selectmen, etc. So I really do think that we all need to look at this. I think that the Board of Selectmen should consider a public relations firm that they can consult, given things that have come about. I think that saying no comment becomes a comment at some point if you say it enough. And I really think that we need to have an official position established. So I am more comfortable with seeing to it that I think we need a public relations firm, is what I'm saying, on board that we consult with as needed.
So the, I think you mentioned this before, Nelson, have you contacted anybody or reached out?
The various departments.
Yeah, well, I know that fire does their own, police hire somebody.
Correct.
So we talked about maybe talk to the police chief and see what they pay and.
Oh, yeah, so they pay right around $5,000, $5,500, but that company is not just public relations related. They host and maintain the police department's website.
Oh, what are we doing about our website? Are we gonna introduce people?
We are, well, I haven't quite set that up yet, which was sometime that's the, so
Okay.
I'll work with you.
I think we got them. I thought I got them.
Yeah, but it's like three pages.
Oh, I didn't need it.
Yeah, I don't think that position necessitates a three-page list of questions.
It's in Share, is it in SharePoint?
I don't.
It was in an email. I'd like the board to look at that. I'd like the board to look at the questions for that and give people. So
We can provide feedback to
people do not like our website.
Nelson. You know, if there's, if you send that to us.
Okay, yeah, and I very sorry about trying to pare down that list of questions to something a little bit more manageable. So I'll send that to the various members of the Selectboard.
Yeah.
And then you and I can, along with Karen, figure out daily times.
I just,
Anytime is fine with me. Cause I got, well, I can do it in I guess, but a department head who needs to put something on the site and it's not their thing, which wouldn't be my thing either. So we're working on it.
And, you know, between now and whenever we hire the actual webmaster, you know, they can certainly reach out to my office to see how we can assist.
Okay.
Certainly, it's something that, you know, is information we're trying to push out to the public. We should try to post it sooner rather than later.
Yeah, I think this planning board wants to get a word out on getting feedback from the residents.
Okay. So that's something we can do in the interim, you know,
On the economic thing.
until someone is officially hired.
so going back to the media policy, sensitive or controversial situations, all television, radio, newspaper, or other media inquiries regarding sensitive or controversial issues should always be referred immediately to the office of the Board of Selectmen. The town administrator will notify the Board of Selectmen before any media response is provided. The town administrator will coordinate a response, including designating a spokesperson if needed. So this is when the questions came in about the water department. The question was, who is answering them? Do we have a spokesperson? That was the question I had. And where is this going? And I just think that as a town, I would like to hire someone to be our public face. That's what I think.
Okay, well, we can find a few options for us to talk to and speak with.
I would talk to Adam, I would talk to the MMA, and I would talk to the police chief.
Yeah.
And because it's possible the police already have someone that represents Townsend, we aren't looking for, this isn't a daily basis
Right, it
thing.
isn't.
This is just someone to consult with and to create the statement. Because I am not comfortable with saying no, I mean, I'm comfortable with saying no comment, but I do think that you say it too many times and you have made a comment, and it may not be the one that you want.
Right.
If I can add something to this too, because you're addressing employees should probably look at the social media policy in their handbook also, because I think it ties directly into this and what they can and can't say on social media about the town.
Yes.
So if you need a copy of that, contact Callie or they both have copies of that. And
Yeah.
it goes for board members too.
Yeah,
It's
I
not just
agree.
employees.
I think that every board and every employee in town should be reading the media relations policy and should sign the social media policy.
Okay, so this policy does need to be updated. It was done in 2015, 2 years ago, signed by Gordon Clark and Carolyn Smart. And we need to change it to select board every year that's on here. And selectmen, every place it says board of selectmen should be select board because that's the updated. And maybe we do a reading of it, change. Do you see anything else that you want to change?
I would be curious if from legal, they have recommendations on specifically social media with regards to media relations, because this was before that was an issue.
Okay.
And I'm wondering if there's a section that should be added. I'm not sure if it's.
Is the social media policy in here? I don't think we talked about
So the
that
social
one.
media policy is more like an employee policy. If this is I don't know, it could be that it covers it all.
Maybe we want to pull out the social media policy as well. And kind of
Make sure they fit well to it.
make sure they mesh. And
Do those two together for review.
yes, so we can start with this with select board. I'm not opposed to this policy as it is.
No,
I
it
think
seems
it's fine.
legitimate, and it seemed like
Yeah.
well thought out from what I read.
Yeah, I agree. And
This should be updated.
it with
And
select
sent to
board.
everyone.
And then to Valerie's point, to look at the social media policy and see if there's anything that needs to be added to this based on that.
So this was before 2015, it wasn't really an issue yet. So, yeah, hard to believe, but
10 years ago. So,
so I mean, you could review both.
yes. Yeah. So Sabrina has a question.
Are you drafting that information or that's for comment?
I wasn't even thinking, I just thought we should look at the social media.
Yeah,
policy.
I don't know that it really needs to be
Yeah, I don't
changed,
know.
either of them, other than making Board of Selectmen select board.
Social media policy? I
I
want to say
can-
it's newer than this,
2019.
Yeah,
2019. So
And all
we
that's-
probably need some changes too, since we've changed to select board and,
it does need to change select board.
yeah.
But I don't know about anything else. It seems reasonable to me. So. But that's me. So can we get them, I don't think we need, town council.
No,
I think we can just update this, make Board of Selectmen in both policies select board. So that would be our update, do a reading and maybe, make sure that employees and boards are aware of both of these and have signed.
So we have a copy of this, how about if we just get a copy of the social media and we review the changes, they must be on a Word doc, so you can make the changes easy enough. And then we'll see at first reading.
Yep.
If there's something else that you want to change for a second reading.
Yep, and Nelson will check into, public relations firms and see what, I mean, we might be able to piggyback onto the police station
Yeah.
for a minimal amount.
Yeah,
I don't know, I
because
mean,
it wouldn't be all the time, it would be. this is our
right, it's just
situation.
occasional,
Yeah,
this
that would be
is-
great to find out.
so,
We
okay,
don't need to get a whole one for ourselves.
right, right. And it would be good if it's someone that's already versed in the town. So,
Long policy of social media.
it is,
Much longer than that.
and there's a spot where you can sign at the end, unlike this isn't really a signed policy, but all the department heads should be aware of it. And all employees.
Okay, so good for that. We're good to go and move forward. 4.5, review, discuss public comment policy.
This one is yours.
That's my can of worms.
Uh-huh.
So I received a lot of feedback that we do not have a public comment policy. And
We do have a policy.
we have a policy, but it is no longer actually constitutional based on Massachusetts Supreme Court ruling.
Mhm.
And so the policy has to be amended either way,
Yes,
because it discusses decorum, which is no longer allowed.
Oh, yeah, you can allow riots and whatever else to occur.
signboards, rushing of tables.
Well, no, I think I actually think you don't have to allow that, but you have to allow someone to vehemently disagree with you. They so choose.
Even if they're disrespectful.
If it's related, from what I understand, if it's related to an agenda item. So you do have the
Oh.
ability to,
Stick to the subject.
I mean, so I brought the North Middlesex School Committee as an example, because they do public comment.
Do we have that
It
here?
should be in here.
Yep, it's at the very end of your packet.
But they have you sign in, you have to,
And this is something that we could do.
in the past, because there's a long story about that, people. Anyway, okay,
No,
I'm good with that.
I mean, so, and it seems that a lot of other surrounding towns have developed their own policies around this that meet with the newer Supreme Court ruling. So the way North Middlesex does it is you have to, submit your name in advance.
Mhm.
The school committee welcomes public comments during regular meetings. Generally, committee members do not respond to public comments during meetings or hearings. Committee meetings are meetings in public to conduct public business. Still, they are not necessarily public meetings in the sense that any matter at any time may be heard from those in attendance. The school committee shall conduct its business with order and efficiency with the hearings of reports, actions upon the recommendations of superintendent, adoptions of resolutions, blah, 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 blah. The school committee shall not respond to public comments. It shall be their decision to discuss issues at a later date. I think that's the important thing. If someone brings up something else, that can be discussed at a later date. So that the public may be heard from most efficiently and in the interest of civility and fair play, participants shall follow the following procedures. Placement of the public comment should be at the direction of the chair. So if it starts at the beginning of the meeting or at the end of the meeting. I know some towns I looked at actually did it at the very end because the public's comments may be answered through the course of the meeting if they have a question. Topics for discussion must be limited to those matters on the agenda for that evening. And then persons wishing to speak must agree to the following, and they have basically a Google form that you have to agree you're a resident, that you have a child in the school, or if not, what. You agree to direct all remarks to the chair, your name and your address. So this is just an example of something that meets the newer requirements as far as I can tell. So I'm just throwing this out for discussion. thoughts, concerns?
I am good with this. I read school committee shall not respond to public comments. It shall be their decision to discuss issues at a later date. In other words, if someone says something that they think should be discussed, they would do it at a different meeting, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm good with that.
And I mean, I think also the thing is you can refer them to the TA to discuss outside of the meeting.
Refer her.
Whoever's making comments.
I don't think you respond to the commenter during the meeting.
No. But say to take it up at a later date. Or
Oh, yeah,
discuss your concerns with the administrator.
We did in the stuff
I'm not opposed to this.
And I think then the other trick too is I'm not sure, it doesn't say, I tried to look through their agenda, I can get the exact amount of time they allow, but it's usually a limited number of public comments and they have 2 or 3 minutes per person. They may accept 3 people, 5 people. I need to find that out, how many and how long.
Okay.
I guess the question is, we have this public comment policy that's essentially not, we can't use anymore. So we have to get rid of this one, at least parts of it. So the question is do we come with a new one in its entirety? Do you want me to work with?
Yeah. Why don't you work on it and make amendments that you think are necessary to bring back?
I'm good with that. All right, so for the 15th, or do you want to do it for the next meeting? I don't know how your time is.
Let me see if I can get a rough, and I can, if we need to move it to the next one.
Okay.
Well, I'll try.
Okay. Wait, we can do that first week in August.
Yeah, try for next time and then see what.
Okay. All right. So public comment July 15th. All right, 3.6, discuss animals in public building policy. Did you take a look at this?
I remember this. I mean, this came in right before I became a selectman. Prior.
I think it should own service in like a seeing eye dog or something.
Seeing eye dogs are allowed, service animals are allowed.
Service animals, which is like seeing eye dog,
Mhm.
but not comfort animals, not ESAs, not to come in here. Right?
Yeah, I'm okay with this policy. I don't have anything one way or the other on this.
Okay, I can't remember.
Why did this?
I was just gonna ask.
I think, well, now we have a canine dog,
Uh-huh.
so,
That's his thing.
so I don't,
He's an employee.
He is an employee.
well, I guess that doesn't count. The dog would be permitted to.
I mean, I'm sure.
Wasn't the dog
police-
sworn in?
I
Yeah.
I guess,
We have a park friend, official.
Yeah.
I guess the
so-
question is, do we
Oh,
need
that's
to
sweet.
change anything in this to allow for that?
We
I
can
mean, it's
add
not,
that,
it's not a service dog or a therapy dog, it is a, whatever that is.
A working dog.
but working dog,
So
he's employed.
I guess the question is, do we need to update this to include that?
Why don't we
Is
get
that
the
why
language
this
for
came
that?
forward? Is that what
And
brought this?
I'm wondering if this would help, because if we have, is the schools in Townsend? If there's going to be, if that presence is there at all, is this, that doesn't relate to schools, right?
Yeah, they probably have their own policy.
Yeah, probably.
It's just from the municipal.
I would say except for cross out occasional department-sponsored programs.
No, right, there is no except for.
It says
on the
therapy
comfort stuff.
or comfort
No.
animals are likewise prohibited,
And the story.
except for department-sponsored programs.
No.
which is what our dog is. I don't know, is it a comfort dog?
No, it's
Maybe
a
No,
working
he's a
dog.
working
It's a
dog.
working dog,
He's a working dog.
so it doesn't
He's
apply.
not here to make you feel better.
So it doesn't apply here. I mean, I think that I'm okay with, except for occasional department-sponsored programs.
I guess the question is do we need to add wording that basically like,
Allows
if that dog was a drug sniffing dog or a, you know,
I'm sure that's one
canine
of his
security
functions.
dog, is that allowed within this policy? Because I would think that there should be wording that allows that particular,
I
it's a
guess,
public safety.
Right.
I guess I assumed it went without saying.
I do too.
Um,
But see what Adam says.
Who brought this
How about we-
forward?
how about-
I didn't. Who did bring this forward? How did this come in
We
here?
talked about it.
Yeah, but I don't recall who actually brought it, who wanted it on the agenda.
Oh, I don't remember.
Yeah.
But,
When?
okay, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
So
okay.
then we probably should,
So let's update it because we have to do this select board anyway. Those changes have to be made. And let's find out from Adam, what should we be adding for the working dog?
For me, I think it would be, exception to the policy is any police dog sworn in as employed by the town.
Well, just look, yeah, I agree, just look at the language.
Yeah, okay, so,
Okay,
I
I will
guess.
update this policy. We should be able to update this one July 15th,
yeah,
okay? Okay.
yeah. Update with wording to allow police dogs. Okay.
Maybe I'll have to add one. Okay, 4.7, discuss clear gov proposal.
So, I did, meet with a ClearGov representative, to see if we can sort of restart, you know, them providing us with some budgeting software. It's not just only for the operating budget, but it's also for long-term capital planning as well as personnel expenses, which, you know, it's part of the operating budget itself. There is a setup fee involved where, you know, they have to get all of our data and then migrate it into their system. And if you look at the proposal, it's just under $7,000 for that. But their annual subscription fee is not exactly inexpensive. It's at the moment $34,000 for that software. They do seem to be willing to work with us on the pricing, but nonetheless, you know, even if they got to $30,000, that's still a pretty significant amount. I think there's a lot of benefit to having it because, you know, it wouldn't just be for, you know, during budget season, it could be throughout the year, you know, departments can be reviewing their budgets through software versus, you know, getting reports or asking for reports all the time. So, and you know, the interface is pretty nifty, you know, there's graphs and charts and things like that. You know, a BVA, you know, might not show, you know, in the software, you probably see trends that is readily available versus the DVA, which only give you a snapshot of, at this very moment, how your budget is looking.
from what I've seen, most towns or sites are using some sort of budgeting software.
Yeah.
I mean, if you, like, I think in the interest of, I think we have a slight communication issue. And that seems to be something that they just pop information online.
Everybody should have
Yeah,
finance and select board and accountant, whatever it
and we're
is.
all looking at the same
Right.
thing.
Right,
And I think there's a
That's
big
gotta be worth
advantage
it.
to that.
Is there any grants out there?
We
Well,
had
we,
one.
a few years ago, we had gotten a grant for the software, but, I think that,
And it just wasn't put into place.
correct, and,
Sad.
well, and the other thing is that grant, it was a community compact grant, they no longer, I think, do that, compact grant for things like
They
this.
don't.
Yeah, they stopped. They're concentrating more on infrastructure, IT grants versus.
Condition.
Yeah.
I would,
is that something we can look into though?
Versus best practices. I'm wondering if, we could use free cash. This is 7,000 for one-time, setup, and the 6-month pro rata subscription service, that tells me that it would, take us from January to, July. And then we could either budget it or put it in the capital plan. Is this something that can go in the capital plan from year to year? It's more than 10,000 and it's something that we need. I don't know. But I think we absolutely need it. We need something. And this is used fairly widely, local, Maynard. And, I know Pepperell uses this, and we need to have something that we can generate and that we see. We have a 5-year plan. Here's what we expect it to be.
before I came, a lot of people feedback and they said, why, like, they pointed to the Pepperell website with regard to the budget. And I was like, well, yeah, that's software.
Right.
And it gives people the information that they're looking for in a clear, concise, clear manner. So,
And a little history is back in like 2017, 2018, the Collins Center did a thing for Townsend and had software that disappeared. It's gone. I think it was in the transition from our in-house MIS to Guardian. I think that just somehow our accountant left, our treasurer left, and I think that it just, nobody can find the software. Nobody could find it back in 2021, 2022. So, and it was not this. It was proprietary in a sense. It was made for Townsend in particular. I like this better because it's generic and we fit into a model. And I think there's an advantage to that.
So especially if there's a company and lots of people are dependent on that company, there's a long-term sustainability to anything versus in-house.
Right. So, I don't know, I would be in favor of this, and I think it's something that we could go forward with. I mean, the price is good until December 31st, so we'd have to have a town meeting prior to secure the funds through free cash.
And he had asked me, when you anticipate starting, and I thought it was gonna be much later in the year, because this would probably need a town meeting vote, given the dollar amount, and it's not in the operating budget. So it very well could be, an article in the fall town meeting.
Right.
From free cash.
Do we want to get this?
We talked about that with finance too.
Yeah, I was gonna say, do we want to get this to finance so that they can understand?
I can send it to them.
They can discuss.
I think maybe go and talk to them, Nelson, go to one of their meetings and I can't see where there would be.
We have to stop the method we're going through.
Yeah, exactly.
It's just not working.
Right. I think it became really clear this budget cycle.
Oh, yeah.
And so, and this is the software that Eric had secured for us.
And it just wasn't implemented.
I don't know what happened. There was supposed to be it came in January of 2023. I was out in April of 2023. So we were in the budget cycle. So the decision was it's probably this one-time setup. They were gonna set it up And then there were to be trainings for all employees once the budget was set. So in the April, May, June timeframe. And for whatever reason, they never happened.
And I just in the library experience and department heads, I think they get, because they have their own little way of doing budgets too. For their specific situations, and then they translate those into the omnibus budget, so giving them that continuity.
And then it's the same from year to year, and we aren't working with Excel spreadsheets. That, I just think this is the way to go. So I am all in. And then we budget the 34,000 every year. I mean, we manage to do things through capital for other departments. Why can't we do it for us? And if it's not through capital, we put it in the budget for, its own little item, separate from any department. This is the town's financial software. That's what I think.
I see this kind of mission critical at this point.
Yeah, I do too. I think we've gotten to the point where this is necessary.
Especially, there's a lot of turnover in Townsend, and having anybody who comes in being able to have one other person that here's the software you're using.
Yeah. Okay.
I think it would also build confidence.
Yep, I'll talk to them. ClearGov also has they call it micro demo, so it's just like, you know, a couple minutes each of each module, whether it's capital budgeting or, you know, just operating budget related. So just to give folks a flair for, you know, how the interface looks like.
Can we go online and look at that?
Yeah, I can send it to you.
Oh, good. Okay, yeah. Get that out to all of us too.
We'll do.
Okay.
I finished finance. Sorry.
4.8, review and sign deed for Townsend Affordable Housing Trust properties for filing at the Registry of Deeds.
I don't think that came in, did it, Sabrina? Did that come in yet? If not, this is for the July 15th. We were hoping it was for today, but I know Adam's on vacation this week. But it was Joe at his office, Joe's last name. Just Joe had done it and had it ready to roll. And I thought it was going to be shipped over.
July 15th. Okay.
Okay, so move this to July 15th.
All right. So 5.1 town administrator updates.
A couple. So the cherry sheets for FY26 were updated. I saw it and I was a little bit disappointed because the amount that was originally proposed and what appears to be the final amount is almost $36,000 less. And I was using the initial amount in the budgeting process. Now you may think, you know, why didn't you use a different amount? This budget has gone through multiple iterations. The cherry sheet, it was at the initial level, it went down, then it went back up, and then went back down again. So there's no way predicting what direction it's going to end up at. And no matter what decision I make, you know, we're going to catch flack for it. So I don't think it's an insurmountable deficit, but given the situation we're in, $36,000 is a lot of money that we need to, you know, somehow come up with. So just to back up, cherry sheets are basically what the state gives us in funding.
Yep.
You know, and there's a lot of components to it. The biggest one being unrestricted government aid. So that's money that we can do whatever we want with. That's why we call it unrestricted. But you know, we always use it to balance the budget, with the operating budget. And every year during the budget cycle, it goes to various committees, first it goes to the House and then the Senate, and then it goes into a committee. And with each iteration, that number changes. That's why I'm saying it yo-yos back and forth. There's sort of a base level that they think they're gonna give you. It goes to the House, it went down, it went to the Senate, it went back up, and then the committee went back down. So it's kind of all over the place where the number ends up being at. But it was upsetting when I saw that, especially when,
You already spent the money?
well, no, we didn't account for it. We were looking at the higher amount.
The cherry sheet money is one of the lines for revenue in the recap. And
This
it's
is for
36,000.
Or 26?
26, it's 36,000 lower than what we had, which means that
We don't have that.
we
padding.
are $36,000. That's gonna be, even if the override passes, we still have $36,000 that needs to be made up somewhere.
It might be a little bit less because I think there's some padding here and there, but, so we'll need to start
In the
whittling it
recap,
down.
you mean,
They have,
padding where?
Just every man's meeting.
I think we weren't exactly at zero, at
Yes,
the bottom
that's
of the
right,
recap.
there's a little bit of money
Yes.
that makes it not quite 36,000.
Exactly, so that's where the padding is.
$1,300.
I'm
So
referring to.
the fire chief, I talked to him, I have some reports, but I talked to him before the meeting, and he said that they were working on a budget, and they found something somewhere that may allow giving back $27,000.
In their FY26 budget?
Yeah.
Okay, I haven't heard that yet myself, but.
Well, it was like at 5 o'clock.
Okay,
It was before I came over here and
okay.
between a bunch of stuff, so
Um,
where you say that now, I mean, we really need, anybody listening, we really need the override to pass. Because we really, really do, in order to maintain services for the town, which already has cut budgets, we need that small override, which basically ends up to $10 a month, if that. well,
Not even
that,
that, it's
$75
$73
a year
$6 a month.
on the, on somebody's annual household. We really need this for the staff and our departments and just to keep everything going, because everything, the segmented, budgets where we said if, for the override, it's a lot of money coming out of public safety in particular. And the others are smaller, but they're all in town hall, which are basically town hall, which are small departments. And how are you gonna cut the hours more than they're cut, or how, and still think you're gonna run the town? So please, everyone, just tell your neighbors, that's all that it is. Please vote so that we can save everything the way that it is. And then that could be just a bonus to help with the cherry sheet.
Yeah, and,
Otherwise, it's a lot worse.
right, and, at this point, any bit helps. So, I'll talk to the police, the fire chief to see what savings they're gonna come up with, so, that's good.
I'm sorry, I don't remember exactly, but I know that he said it was 27,000.
Okay, I'll talk to them in the coming days. The Kids Country Playground over at Spalding, as of today, it's officially closed because we are prepping to demolish it for the new equipment to be delivered in mid-August. We are going to use in-house personnel to demolish it and get rid of it. So Parks and Cemetery and Highway will be assisting. So the plan is if we can do it in a short period of time, during that time, obviously, we're gonna rope everything off so that, you know, there's no incidents. But once that structure is taken down, they're gonna level it out, regrade it. It's just gonna be an empty area. It will be safe now to, you know, use that playground. So the hope is to get that done in the next 2 or 3 weeks so that, you know, folks can start using it just for a little bit before the playground equipment is delivered in mid-August. So,
That's exciting.
yep, it will be an ADA compliant playground as well as will be ADA parking as well. So it took a lot of work getting the grants that we needed. Kids Country Playground Committee did some fundraising a while back, so we have some money there as well, and we had some money from a special town meeting where we voted to appropriate 32,000 in free cash to get the project to the finish line. So I'm excited that we broke ground officially today, and you know, in the coming weeks, the old playground will be dismantled.
Okay. Did you have a ceremony?
No, we had a site visit yesterday, between the contractor, myself, Parks and Cemetery Highway, and Karen, the principal. We just had a kickoff to it over at the playground.
Okay,
That's all the updates I have.
alright. Oh, I did have a question on going back to when we did the reviews when did we do the reviews? In April?
Yeah.
And I think, did I say we were gonna check in again June 30th?
No, I thought that we were going to do goals in the summertime.
Okay, we're in July.
Summertime.
So,
We need to
the
do
end of the
goals.
month? Or first week in August?
I would do first week in August.
Okay.
So we should each be thinking of what.
Yeah, okay, so, general government.
So from the school, I think we all got a notice from the state center that they got 250K for an infrastructure project. That should be helping them out, because they have a lot of cuts they made. They don't have a lot of details on when it's gonna be there, so that's determined. Their next meeting for school isn't until August 12th. So, they're not gonna be meeting for July. So I think at that point, probably it's time to start talking about next year, so. From conservation, they're working out that issue with the Meadows property, and the homeowner's been working with them on that, so that should be all set. The Conservation Commission does, I think I know we're talking about doing some open meeting law training and ethics training, and they have people that also, like, a lot of people are behind on that, so probably keeping an eye on that for all the boards would be a good idea.
Yeah. You had talked to about that, right?
Briefly, I didn't really get into specifics of, you know, maybe a day or time to do it.
I would really like to see it like early fall, maybe.
That's what I
after
was
the
gonna
summer,
say,
September,
Yeah, because I think the summertime.
maybe like a Thursday night or
people are
something.
away, so I think early fall would make
A Thursday
sense.
night or something like that, where people are around.
Yeah, Adam mentioned, he's done like just one big meeting for everyone, or one early in the day for staff, and then in the evening for board and committee members who aren't available.
I think especially an open meeting law training for staff might be helpful right now, just based on some of the reminders I'm sending out.
Yeah. What do you have to say?
I didn't get any specifics from yet about scheduling.
If we can get that on the calendar, just so they all know and they can plan their schedules
Yeah,
accordingly,
so,
that would be nice.
When Adam gets back from his vacation, I'll engage with him to.
Because I'm hearing it from
Plan
other
some
boards
dates.
other than us too, so.
Are we gonna get, are we thinking in the evening? Or is it gonna be during the day?
He said both options are available, so it's up to us to decide.
I think for most of the other board members from other volunteer boards, most of them are working
Yeah, so it's
during the day.
So it's
Like, I just know
evening.
the trustees library, a lot of them are working the day, conservation, it seems like.
But
mean-
employees, it would be nice if it was during the day for them, so both. Sabrina had a question. He suggested that.
Any,
Yeah,
or is it like
not
after,
July, but.
after town meeting?
Talk to him and
So
see what
Stephen
he
says,
has.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think of that?
And then recreation, they had their first week of summer rec, went well. Apparently Nelson was there for part of
I was,
it.
what was it? It was Snack Pals. It was sponsored by Hannaford and, you know, Emmy she needed like an adult to be there because she was taking the training. So she reached out to me and I was genuinely excited and interested in checking out, you know, her rec, program anyways. So it was really neat to, you know, be at the Hot Run Book, gym, you know, kids running around learning about snacks and, you know, veggies. And things like that. So,
that's the only
That's cool.
updates I have.
yes. It was really a hot in there, though, but, you know, no AC, so just some fans going.
All right, well, that's like a cool experience.
It was.
Or a hot one, whatever.
Well, I have TAHT. We're gonna start writing the RFP to sell the property on Haynes Road. Small property, the 2 to 3 acre piece. So we have to get the deeds filed at the registry. So,
Okay.
and we're gonna put that on the property as, we're gonna put that up for sale, as soon as we have, the deed ready to roll, so.
Is it a buildable lot?
It's a buildable lot, yeah. And that'll give us the funds that are just sitting there percolating until Treasury decides whether they can be spent or
Yeah.
clawed back. So it'll give us
Yeah.
funds so that we can continue to operate. And then in the fall, we have the forestry cutting on the 2 bigger properties that aren't being developed for a while. But we're hoping, once we get the property sold, we can, we have a proposal. Kieran got some proposals for us to go out to the town to gather information on what they want on the property that we are gonna develop and RFP support. So that's what we needed that money for. It just, things roll too slowly for us to get it under contract. So we'll get that done in the fall instead with an RFP, hopefully for a development next spring. That's the plan. We were hoping to be there this fall, but can't. And then for the CR, we've pretty much narrowed it down to allowable and not allowable uses. We're using the water district stuff from the bylaws so that we have on the property the controls that we need to allow for the well. So it's just getting a CR holder and then we'll be ready to roll with that. So it's moving right along. Public safety, I don't think I think everything's been said there. We're just hoping for the override
Yeah.
to keep everything
Yeah,
moving forward with the way.
Especially now with the cherry sheet even being less than what we
Yes.
expected.
So if we just to keep the services that the way we in town have come to expect, we need the override. So,
Okay, to the trust,
The housing trust?
the housing trust. So I'll start with the water department. I went there today, I had my tour. Have you been there? Oh, you've been
Yeah, I've been
there. Oh my God, that place is amazing.
That's great.
He's done such a fabulous job there. I liked every room. I liked all his themes. Obviously, he's an interior decorator. And I was amazed when we went into the back room where they purify the water.
Yeah.
Just amazing. We're so fortunate to have, and you were on the board at the time when they went for the grant. And it was just before the PFAS went over the top. And you guys did so great because in allowing for that and backing him, because everything went sky high within a year after that.
Right.
And all the other towns that went for this type of infrastructure and got funds don't even have half of what we have. And we got it for less money.
We
So-
not only got the
It's
loan,
amazing.
but we also the settlements. We signed on to the settlements for PFAS early on. That as well. So it was both
I was just so impressed.
the funding and the other.
But he did mention to me, because he talked about the property that we have on South Row Road.
Yeah,
Does conservation have it or does the house trust have it?
housing trust.
Okay.
If it's the one that has hickory and
Yes.
also,
Yes,
yeah, so now we have water access on both sides.
he's willing to give that land to the trust.
That land is the trust land.
No, the two pieces on Hickory.
Oh, the two pieces on Hickory.
Yes. Yes. And I said, how much frontage is, so he showed it to me on the map. And the two pieces together have about 200 feet of frontage, which, and
Are
your
you,
piece, he showed it to me today. He told me it's 2.5 acres.
okay, it might be right at the edge there, right on
Yes.
Hickory, on
Yes.
this side of that end piece. Okay,
And it's where he's got the water line.
yeah, the water line goes in right there.
So talk to him about
I
that,
will,
okay?
but we're not developing that one, for a while.
No, but he'll give it to you.
I'll talk to him.
He told me several times.
I'll tell him you told me.
Yes, absolutely. Okay, so that on that, and, then, well, I'll go quickly with water, since I'm on water. And, I'll do my spiel to everyone on the vacancies that we have for town for community volunteers. And it is the Agricultural Commission has a vacancy, Amanda Dwight vacancy, Audit Committee vacancy, Board of Health
Audit
vacancy.
committee,
Oh, we
we're
don't have a
not,
Board of Health vacancy anymore.
we're not gonna,
Audit is not.
we're not gonna appoint until December. Because there's really nothing to do
Right.
between now and then.
Okay. Board of Water Commissioners has 2 vacancies. We have received one, and the 10-day period is over tomorrow, so that will be on the July 15th agenda. Would you let Dave know? Or Todd?
If they, and they have one member,
They only have one member.
can
They
they,
only have one member.
how does a joint meeting work if they don't have a quorum?
I think we
Yeah,
did this for,
I mean, he sent an email saying that he supported this appointment. Todd did,
okay,
on
so,
June 20th.
but
So then is it just us?
I think he needs to be here. And we did the same thing we did for housing, because for the housing authority, because we only had one member. She needed to be here. It's in the charter. We'll have to read.
Okay. Can you send an email to Todd and copy me that you'd like him on the 15th to appoint her, okay?
Who are
Hate
we
to
appointing?
hold him up anymore.
Who are we appointing?
Journal and Bezikas is the one that volunteered. They have 2 people. What's that?
The posting's still open, so if I will receive.
Yeah, so if anybody else there's 2 vacancies on the Water Commission. So bring those,
It's two, right?
But there's two vacancies.
Oh, we don't have assigned,
Oh, you didn't get that?
So I spoke with council, where the resignation letter from Nathan unsigned, we are accepting. That is free to be posted, I believe, I told, Todd Moranson, I don't know if it made it today, but, that posting can be made for vacancy.
okay, so there are two openings on the water
So
commission.
you would do that. The second one isn't.
Yeah,
Okay.
one vacancy. So one vacancy can be filled.
I'll reach out tomorrow to Todd and Dave to provide a reminder that I think the 10 days could have lapsed, I believe, before the 15th, so you could maybe be involved.
So are you the one that does the posting? Who does
The
it?
water committee does the poll.
So the water,
Oftentimes,
Right, so
I
that,
have
that's what I'm
that
asking you, do
email,
they have to get it to you, a request to you?
they have to send the posting to the town clerk and post.
I'll speak to Todd.
Please, thank you. Okay. I mean, we really would, we're gonna try to help the boards and committees as much as we can to get the vacancies filled as soon as they can, so that they can operate. I don't think these, okay, Cable Advisory Committee, I was on that. We're not meeting.
we're done.
I think we're done.
Did you already, is there a
We had the
new
meetings and there
agreement
was-
with,
No, we're still working on contract. I mean, we're
Comcast.
we're kind of right.
And
at the
there's an
finish-
attorney now.
We're kind of right at the finish line there, but,
so the committee should still be meeting, correct?
Well, we haven't met since the attorney stepped in. We've met with him 2 or 3 times. And then it's in the Comcast. I don't know where that stands.
it is with Comcast, because Dave and I and the attorneys met with the Comcast
Okay,
representative, and
Dave chairs the committee. Okay.
there were some negotiations, and I don't know where that stands.
Oh, we're gonna open an update, get an update.
Sure. Wait, are you the liaison?
I'm on the committee.
I'll-
I'll call Dave.
Yeah, it's been a little slow, I would say. We really could probably pick things up a little bit quicker, because we're literally right there at the finish line. But we certainly still have plenty of time for no jeopardy of.
What's COA?
Council on Aging.
Oh, yeah, there's a vacancy.
Yes.
Okay, Commission on Disability.
That has never been seated, but it is absolutely open. It was really hard to get grants without having a commission.
Oh, wow.
It's in the charter, but that committee has never been seated.
And how many member committee is it?
I don't remember. I think it's like 5.
And that's in the charter?
It's in the charter, yeah. Commission on Disabilities.
Do we have a posting?
There used to be a posting up. It's kind of probably a perennial posting, Commission on Disabilities.
Those are all the postings that are on the website.
Oh,
It
okay,
might be 5
Currently.
people.
okay.
The posting's been up since May of 2024, and it is for 5 vacancies.
Right, one of whom is supposed to be a person who would qualify.
As
ADA,
disabled?
yeah,
Okay,
which could be hearing impaired, it could, all sorts of things.
okay. Conservation Commission still has a vacancy,
I think too.
or 2. Cultural Council?
I don't know how many they have.
I haven't heard anything back from them. but I
Energy Committee?
Yes, the Energy Committee would love people. They're
Yeah,
working on.
I think they need 3.
Yeah, and anybody who's interested in anything environmental, energy related, we're one of the few towns that's on an action plan.
Mhm.
So just reach out to them. They're great. Very positive, upbeat group. If anybody wants to kind of have some fun and try and,
Cultural council?
no,
No,
energy.
energy.
Yeah.
They're very good.
Historic District Commission has 2 vacancies. There are 3 applications in, however, the commission hasn't acted yet. Housing Authority also has 2 vacancies, right?
It has 3, one of whom is a state appointed representative, and one of whom is supposed to be a resident of, like Atwood Acres or Townsend Woods.
Kids Country Playground has a vacancy. Meeting Hall Gallery Committee has a vacancy. Planning Board still has a vacancy, a full board member. Trustees of Soldiers Memorial, it doesn't say vacancy. Zoning Board of Appeals has vacancy. They have 2 vacancies actually. So we still have plenty of vacancies and we need a lot of help. So hopefully we'll see more volunteer forms coming in.
I'm looking for one from
Planning Board.
zucchini or zucchini,
Planning
or
Board.
maybe grapefruit too.
I attended the planning board meeting. Carol Hostas was, their appointment to the Town Properties Committee. That's something to you? They voted that last night. Review. We're going through the site plan approval review, section 62 special permit. A lot of discussion because of the ADUs by right. So they're trying, the laws don't coordinate yet. Our bylaws and what the rights are. So they have NRPC working on the bylaw change.
Doesn't the state law supersede our?
We have to change our bylaws.
I thought we already did. I thought we
Good. I know we
voted that.
Not since
Not
the
good enough.
ADU.
Because the state
changed-
came
The
with
state
policy.
changed it.
But I thought we did too.
I don't think it was for this, because they were still talking about it last night with MRPC. Yep. They're talking about also, and I'm not sure.
Did
about
it not
this.
get voted at town meeting like a year ago?
This is the site plan review that just got changed by the ADU because
Oh,
of
for
the
site
ADU.
plan review.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
It doesn't require site plan review, I thought.
no, it doesn't, but the bylaws weren't reflecting that.
Okay. All right.
Anyway, they have to work on
I'm
it.
not on the planning board, so.
And I meant to get a hold of Tracy today on the next steps for the economic plan, because I know they're gonna have, want more surveys done and input. So the last I heard, it was 46 answers, but as of last night, there were 56 participants. that had
So it's still
answered.
open.
Yeah, it's still open, and hopefully, they're working on questions for the next survey to reflect what happened at this forum.
Okay.
And I just had a question on what came in the email today about, Health Equity Partnership of North Central Mass.
I didn't
I didn't
see
get that
that.
It was in my email, on the town email. I'm not sure if they're
Unless it
looking
came
for
in the
participation.
last hour or so.
We're looking for a representative for them.
Mind if I just you that got it, Larry?
This is the regional coordinating,
Oh, the one.
council.
we
Oh,
did.
that one that
Regional
I'm having a hard
Coordinating
time.
Council. Is that what you're on?
No, I'm not on it. I'm
No.
trying to find someone to do it.
Yeah.
COA, right?
Yeah. And so,
Oh,
Elise has been on vacation, so if you can forward me that email, or Nelson can forward. Oh, Nelson, did you get it also? Can you forward it to me? Thanks.
You can have it. I don't need it. I knew
You
it was
respond?
me.
We've discussed that one a couple
Yes,
times.
it's hard. Yeah.
Okay.
So you
I just said-
volunteered.
There's, one person on, and I reminded myself that I did not ask if anybody else was recording this evening. I don't know, did Carrie? So, hearing none, okay, but I did state that now for the meeting. Next meeting is July 15th at 6 p.m. And 5.5, is there a motion?
I move that we review and sign payroll and bills payable warrants out of session.
Second,
Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. 5, executive session, votes may be taken. 6.1, executive session pursuant to GLC 30A S21 A3 to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining or litigation if an open meeting has been detrimental, may have a detrimental effect on the bargaining or litigating position of the public body, and the chair so declares. Focus here.
Are we gonna adjourn?
From
From executive
executive.
session.
Yes, ma'am. May I have a motion?
I think you have to read that one. Chair.
What did, what I just read?
You can say so moved.
So moved as I just read.
Second.
And it's on the tape. Thank you. Any discussion? Hearing none. Roll call to adjourn from the ending of our executive session.
Roll call to enter executive session and adjourn.
And adjourn from executive session.
Veronica Cal, aye.
Goodrich, aye.
Laura Schifrin, aye. At 8:37 p.m.